Hey, what's going on, people? So, this week in class, I learned about short weeks. I restructured my money and I got a new kid. All right, we'll talk about that more. Talk about that and more in this week's episode of This Week in Class. All right, so first off, came back from vacation and Monday was a teacher work day, and then we had the rest of the week. This was a better teacher work day than what I've had in the past because I actually got to work in my classroom. I had my elf, my oldest daughter. She's in high school, so she needs the community service hours as well. So she came and drew some anchor charts for me and helped straighten up my room, and that helped a lot. It just feels good, and it's easier to work when you got a clean room. I call staff meetings my opportunity to pretend like I'm an adult because segue to another thought that I had that I discovered, and I was fine because the staff meeting was at the beginning of the day, right? So slept. That was what I was doing. Got up, came to work, staff meeting, no problem. I normally struggle with meetings like that after having had a full day of work because I sit down and I do nothing, and it made me realize something, that I'm never sleepy at school. Not even like, and this could change, right? But not even like at lunch when I'm like, oh, I need to put my head down, or, I'm in a room by myself, right? So technically I could curl up on the carpet. I don't feel that way. I think I had a friend tell me that working with kids is, what did she say? I think she said working with kids is Botox. It really keeps you young. And for me, it energizes me. Even on a rough day, it really just keeps me up and it keeps me going. It's my coffee, I guess, and even with that, somebody said something to me about getting away from the kids. And I'm like, I don't have any desire to get away from them. Like, I like my class. I like my kids, even on rough days. And rough days is really just only a couple kids most of the time. So I don't know. I really like what I do. It reminds me of, like, as a photographer, if I'm working, then I never really need to eat. And I have to tell myself, make sure you eat before you get to work, because once I start working, I'm good. And then afterwards, I'll finish and realize how hungry I am, because the work really kind of pulls my attention and keeps me satisfied, So same thing with working with these kids. I'm good. I don't know. And maybe because I'm new, I'm just not in a position where I'm like, I can't wait till Friday and this, that, and the other. Only reason I can't wait till Friday is because I have other things to do, but not because I want to get away from the kids, Now, what would be great, because sometimes a full week is just tiring. It's not possible. But Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, back on Thursday, Friday. Oh, that would be amazing. I remember when I was a kid, we got out early on Wednesdays. They don't do that anymore. That would be helpful too, but it is what it is. What else did I do last week? Go back to, so I came back over the break, and I mentioned this last week. There were probably some more prep things I could have done, and I just didn't. And I probably just needed this full break since it's my first year. I think going forward, I'll make sure I'll do a little bit more. And I was fine. Like, I wasn't behind when I got back or anything, but there were some small things I wanted to do, like send a message to the kids and maybe review some information. I just didn't do it, So I think for spring break, I'm probably going to put that stuff on the front end, do some of those things right away so they're ready. Like prep a message for the kids. Hey, hope you're having a good break. I miss you. This is what we're looking forward to when we get back, etc. You know what I mean? And like send that to them on like a Thursday or maybe a Friday, so they can be like, oh yeah, I got to get ready to get back to school. put that in their head so that their first realization of going back to school isn't Sunday night or Monday, you know? Does anybody do that? Has anybody ever done that? Leave me a message. Let me know if you reach out to your kids in the middle of breaks to kind of touch base with them, because in the past, when I was a kid, that wasn't really something that could be done unless it was by phone, and then you have to call each parent. Now we have tools where I could record a video and send it out to everybody, make it available to everybody, I should say. And I could actually touch base with all the parents and all the kids at the same time. Funny. So right now we're working on alliteration, right? And so, because I'm a huge nerd, a huge geek, I sent my parents a message telling them that, and I used alliteration in the message. Can I pull that up for you? I believe I can. Give me 1 second. Let me take a look. But yeah, I'm enjoying the idea of making sure that I am myself, you know, so my parents get to know me and meet me, you know, because that's good for them. That's good for the kids. So yes. So I said today we tentatively took time to touch on alliteration, whatever. but yeah, that was funny. So I did that, and the teacher that helps me so much in my classroom, we were working on giving the kids something geared towards alliteration, and she had a video, and I was like, well, check this one out. So there's a video by a rapper named Papoose called Alphabetical Slaughter, where he goes through the whole alphabet, and each bar he only uses words that begin with the letter of that alphabet. So he goes A, B, C. He goes in order. Not appropriate for the classroom at all. But very cool illustration of alliteration. Because we were touching on poetry too, and I meant to take a picture of it and I forgot. I also, I was introducing them to poetry and the idea of a rhyme scheme, right? So, I went through, did A, B, A, B, right? And I was like, okay, so just give me some topics. Give me a topic. They yelled out a bunch of stuff. I'm like, no, not necessarily something that was mentioned in the story, just any topic. So somebody said bunny. So I actually wrote a poem on the spot about a bunny. But one thing I find about myself, for some strange reason, whenever I go to write a poem, my default is a limerick. I have no idea why. And that's the rhyme scheme. It's always a limerick, or maybe like if I see somebody mention that, it's National Haiku Day. I like writing those. Who knew, right? But yeah. Let me see. Should I? Nah, I won't mention that. I'll leave that alone. The other thing I did this week, I planned to do it before. I printed out everything, but I actually rolled it out with the kids. So I restructured the money. So initially, the money, that's my my motivation system. Initially, I just had $1 bills, and I use superhero money. So it was all the superheroes were printed on each $1 bill. It didn't matter because it was just once, right? So I actually, because right now this unit we're working on fractions, and the unit after we're working on money, I was like, well, this is a great time to do it. So I printed 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s. So different colors for each denomination and a different hero on each one, so they can tell them apart. I know money's not like that, right? Money's all green, but it's just something to help. And I was like, that's great for bills, but when I introduce coins, they might struggle with that. And most kids have a hard time with the fact that quarter costs the most, it's the biggest thing. Then wait, the nickel is more than a dime, but the dime is smaller than the nickel. I don't know who came up with that, but that kind of ruins kids' days. But I'm rolling that out, moving that through. I think it's just another thing to make them excited about the class, that there are new things happening, on a regular basis. And I also use that money rollout to do a soft test of who knew what. So one, can you count the money that you have, right? Just $1 bills. How high up can you count? If they couldn't do that, that's an information point for me, or a data point for me, I should say. And then when I was giving them their new money, I'm putting it down and having them count it for me. So who can say 20, 40, 50, 55, 56, 57? Who can do that, right? Knowing who can do that is another data point, so I like the fact that I could use that to learn something more about the kids. Last thing. I got a new kid in my class, right? So we get emails from the office, but I got this email at 8:30. 8:30, I'm in the middle of my reading block. I'm actually standing up, walking around, teaching. So I wouldn't have gotten that email, right? So then someone brought the kid to my class. Hey, here's your new student. What I liked about that situation was that I was not panicked. It was like, okay, here it is. It's what it is. In the middle of my class, hey, let me get you a seat. Have a seat. We're in the middle of a lesson. Hold tight. I'll get to you in a minute. So working with that and understanding that, okay, I'm getting more of a grip on this. This is actually my classroom. This is my world. And if things come into my world, I integrate it, like the Borg. I integrate it into my world, and it is what it is. I'll figure it out, So, and even that was a great opportunity for me to learn something about the student, about questions I asked and things I asked the student to do. If they could or couldn't do it, then I had an understanding of where that student was just by doing those questions. No tests, no homework, just, hey, can you do this for me? Okay, you can't do that. Can you do this? Good, you can do that. Okay, I know where you are. I know how to work that out. So just and I don't quite have 100% of a process for a new kid. I did I gave him a tour of the classroom and just kind of talked to him and introduced him to the rules and stuff like that. And I think what I'll do is, because my understanding is, and people always talk to people on their level. They're most comfortable with that. And kids especially, like if you've ever seen a really small child, almost like a baby, it could be a room full of adults. Baby comes in, the baby's like, hey, who's that? What's going on? You know what I mean? They're attracted to each other. So I probably need to find the right kid to kind of sponsor this child and help him get up to speed. I mean, he's fine. It's not like he hasn't been in school at all, so he knows the process, but he doesn't know my classroom, So, okay. One more thing. A lot of people, maybe even teachers, are heavy on the punitive stuff with their students, right? If you don't do this, this is going to happen to you. And I want to move away from that and move towards making sure I reward good behavior openly in front of people who are not exhibiting good behavior, so that they can be like, oh. So Friday, on Fun Friday, we normally will do a craft, or maybe we'll watch something, and then there's treats or different prizes that are given out based on what you did during the week, right? So this week or last week, I had cake pops, right? And listen, right? It's rare that everyone does what they're supposed to do. So that's normally a minimal thing for me. There's normally less than maybe 20 to 25% of the class that is in that upper tier of having done everything that I asked for that week, right? So passed out the cake pops, and this one girl was livid. She's like, I want a cake pop. Ma'am, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So what I want to do on Monday morning is, have a quick family moment and say, hey, listen, you saw the cake pops, you saw the Hershey Kisses, strawberries and cream, all that stuff on Friday. All of this can be yours if you do the simple thing that I've asked you to do. You know what I mean? So I really want to kind of reinforce that and reinforce what I want with rewarding good behavior as opposed to solely punishing or correcting bad behavior. And I still will correct bad behavior. It still needs to happen. But I think they need to be, it needs to happen on both sides where you don't get, where you get something that you don't like for not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And for not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you miss out on something that you would like that is given to other people in your face. So that is what I'm really hoping that'll flip the switch. If I constantly give out things for people being good, that more people will say, listen, I'm not winning by not doing what this man is asking me, because everybody else seems to be getting things that I want, you know what I mean? And I'm not getting them. So maybe if I change my behavior, I will get those things. So that's all I learned this week in class. So I'll be paying attention next week so I can let you know what I learned next week in class. All right, y'all, take care. Signing off, your friendly neighborhood second grade teacher.